Right, and we have gone live. I was going to do the intro thing, but that would have looked really weird if you just sort of staring at the camera and then I go for it from there. But yes, here we are. We're on SDFC Fans React. Pretty much, so apologies that it's probably you're gonna have to put up with me waffling again. But obviously, I just kind of set this up very very late, so I'll just quickly get all the noise down on around us. Anyway, but yes, obviously, as you can see to my got it right to my left and then down, we've got Dave and Sean. And long time no see, lads. Actually, feels like it's been probably a while since I've actually spoken to either of you. But how are you both getting on?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Uh, not bad, but obviously disappointing about yesterday, which we'll get into. But I don't know what it was, but I had that feeling at work. I was like saying to the lads, I've got the Burnley vibes feeling about this game. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. And it happened as well. But like you say, we'll get into it as we're speaking about yesterday. But I was I was really annoyed because I know we've had a really good start in that, but like if we'd won yesterday, I mean, we would have been still in the top four. Maybe I'm getting too carried away. I'm getting too ahead of
I
ourselves.
think we're. I think talk of Sunderland in the top four is probably a bit premature, I'm afraid, but you never know.
Yeah,
And to answer your question, John, I'm sorry the dog's just trying to kick me in the ribs. Cheers, Looney, you little bugger. But yeah, no, I do have work. I just don't work on Sundays, mate. I'm basically just the first time in my life I've actually been popular, so we'll go with that.
hmm
And this is not letting me get rid of it. But anyway, go on then. Right, Dave, I'll start with you. Obviously, Fulham won, Sunderland nil. I don't know how much of the game you have seen or whether you've just seen match of the day highlights or anything, but it's obviously disappointing, isn't it, given the standards we've set so far this season for the group?
I haven't seen much, but I think the key word there is what you've just said: disappointed. I think we can get overreact to it and talk about relegation again and everything. I mean, you know, it's still a possibility. We've got 19 points. We could still have a terrible run, but on the other hand, we've had a great start. Nobody expected us to have 19 points of the 12 games. I don't care what anybody says, and um, yes, it was disappointing and we didn't play well. And for me, what I saw of it, we didn't defend like we have been defending. We
yeah,
seemed to be a bit open and a bit anxious at times in that game. But, it's what it is and we just have to bounce back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. I think that in general, weirdly, because I think for in patches, Sunderland did actually defend fairly well because I did actually manage to watch the game. But the difference is, I think you've also got to just give credit to Fulham. I just think Fulham just were pretty good, and I think it was one of where our standards were poor, and I thought we weren't anywhere up to the levels that we've come to expect from Sunderland this season. And that's a compliment, by the way, because we performed well. I'm guessing I don't know what you think, Sean, but for me, Sunderland have performed well and above so far this season what I think anyone could have realistically expected from them. And yesterday was poor, but when you're coming up against mid-table Premier League sides,
hmm
that's the quality they sometimes have. And you look at Fulham's squad. I mean, it's not a bad team. Like it's. I think a
no,
lot of people forget that a lot of teams at this level are going to have real outstanding quality. So I think ultimately, I think Fulham did just deserve the win and just played better than us on the day, even though we were poor.
yeah. I mean, I don't know WhatsApp group yesterday. I was a bit knee jerk reaction. I mean, I've grown up a lot since the days when we in League One, and we get beaten. I go on there, Twitter, and I would tweet, kicking off. I'm sick of this, sick of that. But you look at it, and we've had a fantastic start, no matter which way you look at it. And then I said like I say, Fulham. I said they were crap. Shit actually, but they're not. They're not. There's not an easy game in the Premier League. All the games is really difficult, and if you're not in any week, you're not on it, you'll get beat. And I mean, the Burnley game proved that as well. We weren't very good that day. Um, we weren't
Man
very
United to a lesser degree.
yeah, we weren't very good yesterday. Maybe, I don't know if a lot of these players who are coming back from international duty, maybe that took its toll on the squad. I'm not sure, but Michael just didn't look like scoring like at all. I mean, apart from the few chance in the second half where he done a
Yeah,
little
we
nice
didn't bring
touch
much, did we?
and he shot, but I couldn't see a score, Michael. Dave, I couldn't see a goal from anywhere yesterday.
I think you have to look at the two sides of the coin. We've got 11 goals in 12 games, which is brilliant. We've only scored 14.
That's
So
that's a
we
good
do need to be able to score goals. Had we had a worse defensive record, we would be
be in
uh,
trouble. We'd
further
be,
down. But like you say, it was one of those. It was very similar to Burnley. It was very similar to Man United in
mm,
in in the sort of game, because in those games we were expected to go in and do well and get something, and we haven't. We weren't expected to get anything at Chelsea. We weren't expected to get anything against Arsenal. Sometimes we are playing as the underdog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
and
know,
I don't know what it was. I just like you see it at work. All these lads are going, oh, well, you know, we'll win tomorrow. We'll beat Fulham, no problem. They're not very good. And I was like, well, they're giving Newcastle a good game of the week. Even the Newcastle fans are saying they're not a bad side. And I think Michael
They've
pointed
only lost once at home this season, by the way, and that's to
yeah.
Arsenal.
Oh no, as I'm saying, and like I keep on reiterating, we need to like understand that every game in the Premier League is difficult. There's not an easy game. There's not an easy game, and if you don't turn up like we did yesterday, you know you'll come away with 0 points, and that's exactly what happened. And what we're going to do now is like we did after the Burnley game, we need to bounce back, and that's that's what we've got to do next Saturday, really.
and that won't be easy either.
No. Well, like I said, I mean, contrary to what everyone wanted to tell us when we started winning a few games, but Sunderland's had an easy start. Load of nonsense. Absolute nonsense. There's no easy games whatsoever. And I think, to be fair, I mean, there was been talk. I saw talk before the game of people predicting Fulham. Some people predicting Fulham to struggle and go down. And I was like, and even before the game, I was like, really? Like Fulham's squad's not that bad, you know. It's like so. I think, and Marco. Obviously, there's a lot of discontent with Marco Silva with the contract situation and everything else. But based on yesterday, from what I watched, I'd be absolutely staggered if Fulham got relegated. I think.
Do you think it was the fact that we weren't very good, or just Fulham were just better than us on the day, Michael? What do you?
I think probably a good fair mixture of both. I would say that you've got both can be true, as I said earlier. Though you can say that we were poor, but that Fulham actually were good, and let's not make no bones about it. They deserve to win the game, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, when obviously the annoyance is you get to 83, 84 minutes, and it's 0-0, and you think, well, all right then, you get a point, take it back up to the northeast and everything else, and then of course you can see what I thought was a soft goal, but. You know, and you can talk what you want about the referee, but whether the free kick wasn't a free kick and the build-up and all that, but we still had to defend the goal, and we didn't do it well enough for me, Dave.
That's right. We didn't, and that's what I was meaning before when I said we didn't look ourselves at times. The couple of chances in the first half where they cut through us, that hasn't happened previously, and I don't know what the problem was, because you could say we were overconfident, and then when you looked at it, we didn't look confident at all. So I can't put my finger on it as to why we're like that. But let's hope it's a one-off, and
you hope it's a blip rather than anything to be really concerned about.
A bump in the road.
It has to be. But I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it has to be just a one-off game, because we've got Bournemouth are well drilled. That's going to be a really tough game. And honestly, if we get a win, I'll be absolutely over the moon if we get a win next Saturday. But then after that, Michael, you've got Liverpool, you've got Man City, you've got Newcastle, there's some games that's coming.
Brighton after that. Brighton's not an easy game either.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. You can look at the games against the non-traditional Big Six to quote it that way. There genuinely is no easy games. But I think, and again, Fulham's just one of them. I did think we would win as a gut feeling. But I did say that Fulham aren't a bad team whatsoever. I watched them play Brentford a few weeks ago at Craven Cottage, and Fulham battered them that day. Deserved to win. And Brentford aren't a crap team either.
Exactly.
So I think you've got and I think Brentford's a team that I probably underestimated quite a lot, actually, because I haven't watched Brentford. I don't think they'll go down now. I think they'll be totally fine. Yeah. But the big thing for me is, look, when we've lost before, we've bounced back. Now, that doesn't automatically mean we'll bounce back and get a good result against Bournemouth. But for me, I think it's imperative that we get something at least next week with Liverpool and Man City. Liverpool and Man City. No, even if, and again, I know people might think this is negative, but I don't really care. Even if it's a point, like Bournemouth, I promise people, are not a bad team.
Yeah.
People, you can't just look at the name Bournemouth and think, oh, you should be beating them. For club size, maybe we should have a better team, but we don't. Bournemouth have been established for about 4 seasons now in the Premier League. That is going to be a hard game.
I've been guilty of that over the years, like Michael, and that's where I've sort of, like when I think of teams like Bournemouth, I think of teams like Fulham and Brentford. And like years ago when Southampton's in the Premier League and had a good side, I think we'll beat these because we're a bigger club. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way.
The Premier League especially doesn't work that way.
Bournemouth are a really well-drilled team, and I watched them a few weeks ago and they looked. I mean, Semenyo, I'm hoping he was out. I think he was out yesterday, so I'm hoping he's injured for the game this Saturday, because he's a real player, real player.
Kluivert was out yesterday as well.
Yeah,
but they've played the last 2 games. They've conceded 6 goals.
Have they?
Yeah,
the loss was 4-0 away at Villa, and then 2-2 against West Ham yesterday.
I think Villa's.
Villa are good, to be fair, aren't they? So,
right.
But I hope they're good today, mind, because they're playing Leeds. So,
Nah, I know. That's a yeah. I mean, I think you mentioned, Michael, in your one of your videos, or maybe was in the group about the teams what had lost yesterday. Burnley lost. A lot of these teams in the bottom, which was, I know we're being beaten, we didn't play well, but you look at the other teams around us and you think, wasn't too bad, really. Looking at it, you know.
Well, all games are there to be played, and if you look at the fixtures that Burnley, Leeds, and West Ham have coming up, because one mentioned our fixtures, but theirs aren't great either, mind.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But
Leeds in particular look horrendous from what I've seen.
yeah,
The caveat with Leeds for me is whether they stick with Daniel Farke all season, and I don't think they will. By the way, I think they'll sack him before the turn of the year, personally.
Yeah,
but I think, what you want is their confidence to be so shot that their new head coach coming in, and bearing in mind as well, we can talk about the goals we've scored. Leeds have scored less than we have, so that's another thing to point out. So I think, personally, for me, I think the big thing is that, look, when I saw Wolves were getting beat, I was like, okay, that's good. Burnley lost 2-0. Obviously, I watched bits of that game in the early kickoff. Okay, it is against Chelsea. And I know we went and won away at Chelsea, but no promoted teams really you'd expect to get something off Chelsea. So I think it's I think it's almost a bit of a situation that Wolves and Burnley losing's good. I think if Aston Villa can get a win today, which you pray that they do, then you think, well, all right then, it's not the end of the world. But even then, we've got Leeds to play twice. For me, looking at it this way, I know there's been a lot. I know Thomas in the group chat was obviously was showing a bit of concern there. But I think the way I look at it is, and I've said it before, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course. But I've always said pessimism and realism are not always exclusively the same thing, and I think a lot of people can confuse them as the same thing. Now, am I saying that Sunderland's going to get Europe? I'd love it, but I'd very much be surprised if we did this season. I think that's a bridge too far. But unless we recruit absolutely exceptionally in January. But for me, I've said before, my target is still 40 points. And I swear, this is going to turn into a drinking game where every time I say 40 points is the target this season, someone is going to be mortal in A&E by the end of the season with the amount of times I'm going to say it. But the point is, I still stand by it. 40 points is the target. And for me, that requires us to get 21 points in 26 Premier League games. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling we will probably do that. I'd like to hope we will.
Yeah, I think we would. But, I don't know. I think when you're talking about the group chat yesterday and what have you, I said in that as well that that's the points target, and it's really effectively 7 wins in 26 games.
Yeah,
that's effectively what it is.
Yeah,
can we win 7 games in 26? Yeah, probably we can. So let's hope we can. We're going to have to go, because of our good start, we're going to have to go on a really bad run. And also, the Arsenal game and the Chelsea game were the first 2 free hit games with 4 points.
Yeah.
We're not expected to beat Man City. We're not expected to beat Liverpool. I don't think Nottingham Forest were expected to win 3-0 there yesterday.
Oh, no.
So, anybody can beat anybody on the day. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
But we don't even have to win those games for me. Like, a lot of them is, if you manage a couple of draws out of them, the tally adds up, doesn't it? So I think, for me, I look at it as if you could get 5 wins, 6 draws, for example, or 6 wins, 3 draws, whatever it is. And we're capable, and over the season, unless we get, obviously that depends on injuries as well. We have to get, to some extent, a bit lucky with injuries. But for me, I think based on what I've seen so far, unless something catastrophically bad happens, I think we're good enough to achieve that personally. I don't know what you think, Sean.
When need to, I think Dave mentioned earlier, we need to get back to what we've been really good at, though, Michael, and that's been great as a defensive unit. Because yesterday we didn't. I mean, I know the rain was bad, like, and you could say, oh, well, it was rain. The referee wasn't very good, but the defence as a whole didn't look as compact and as united as it has been the last few games. And I think come Saturday, we just need to get back to how good we have been. Our defence has been brilliant. Let's be honest, and that's been the basis of our success. I think that our defence. But I was just wanting to mention the stats off yesterday as well, and it's not great. But total shots 24 Fulham, 4 by Sunderland. Shots on target 6 by Fulham, 2 by Sunderland. Big chances 4 for Fulham, 0 for Sunderland. Is it a bit of a worry, lads, that we don't seem to be creating a lot of chances for the striker? I mean, I felt sorry for Isidore. He didn't have anything to work with yesterday. He seemed just isolated.
Completely isolated, wasn't he?
Yeah, like he was in a lot of games. I mean, he can come up and score a goal, but sometimes you just need to create this one moment, and you nick a point and get it 1-1, and come away with a point. That would have been huge. I would have been absolutely over the moon with a point yesterday, just off how bad we were, how poor we played. But we've come away with nothing, and I mean, I just had that feeling, like seeing all the lads at work saying, "No, we'll definitely." I says, "I've got
Yeah, you always feel like when people get a bit dangerously over. I had that. You know what? I had that feeling before Man United, where I felt a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Man United are crap," and all this. We'll beat them. Like, lads, they're not a bad team. Don't underestimate anyone in the Prem. Like, and that ends up being the case. But to be fair, I think, as I've said, you've just got to look at it. And for me, the way I look at it like this: we're still 17 points above Wolves. And that's a big thing. The longer they go, I mean, I think Wolves will go down anyway now.
Yeah,
but the longer they go on without a win, the more psychologically damaging it is for them.
Absolutely.
So, and the harder it is for them to get a win. Effectively, for Wolves to have a chance of staying up now, how many games we've got left? 26. 26 Prem games. Look at it this way: Wolves have to win nearly half of them to have a chance. For me. And our Wolves, and unless Rob Edwards is the best manager in the history of the planet of the Premier League, I can't see Wolves winning half of their games. Sorry?
Which he isn't.
No,
I like him at Championship level, mind.
Yeah.
Premier League level, very big question.
It's a good Championship manager, but I think him leaving Middlesbrough to go there, I just felt it was.
Yeah, it was a bit shady, wasn't it?
In fairness to him, he's not hiding to nothing, isn't he?
Absolutely.
So,
but that's why it makes it baffling for me, Dave, that he left. He had something really good going on at Borough, and he could have easily stayed there. But
it's like his home club, isn't it? It's a club.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how Borough fans would feel a bit aggrieved. Put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, they will.
But the point I'm getting at, but for us, selfishly, like I remember, and I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but there's the second tier podcast, and at the start of at the end of last season, Ryan Gilks, one of the lads on there, made a video that if you're a promoted club going up to the Premier League based on the last couple of seasons, your best hope really is that you finish the highest of the three teams that went up, and you hope at least one of the top 17 has an absolute shocker. And I've said this loads of times, but Wolves seem determined to fill that role. So thanks very much, Wolves. If you can just continue to be really, really SHIT and just keep yourself well down in 20th, then it's fine. But yeah, go on, Sean.
I honestly think, right, I think, no disrespect here, I think Scott Parker, I think Burnley will start to feel the pinch of the season as it goes on. I mean, they might spend some money in January, I'm not sure, but I think they'll go down. I think Wolves have got a lot to do. I think they will. I think Leeds will change the manager, so that's going to be a case when Daniel Farke eventually goes.
You hope it's late as possible, don't you?
Aye. I want them to delay it, and then...
But just to interrupt you there, Sean, but I want to go out this, and I suspect this guy's a Newcastle fan because of the next comment he's put. But PSR is a cruel mistress, you'll see. Now, I bring that up for one reason. Sunderland's PSR situation apparently is pretty good. And I'm not talking in comparison to the likes of Newcastle. I'm not talking in comparison to the likes of your established clubs. I'm talking in particular compared to the likes of Leeds. Leeds, I don't think, have the PSR wiggle room that we do in January. So even if they sacked Farke, it's going to be harder for them, I think, than us. Forget the league position for a minute. It's harder for them than I think it will be for us to get the players that will make the difference to keep them up, in my opinion. And you've got to look at it, and this is when I've said down the bottom, I looked at Nottingham Forest, I looked at West Ham, and I thought, let's be honest, not a cat and hell's chance either of these go down as far as I'm concerned, because I think Nuno's more than good enough to keep West Ham up. I know there's a lot of issues at that club, but I can't see Nuno taking them down. I really can't. No. And then is Dyche really going to take Nottingham Forest down?
Definitely not.
And look at the team they had, man. Forest teams should have been anywhere near the bottom three of the Prem.
Dyche teams up, doesn't he, Michael? Dyche just has that... He has that. He's done with Burnley for years.
Everton, that utter woke nonsense mentality.
Yeah, Everton was points deductions. I think twice, and he didn't have much money to spend, and he got them out of the right really bad situation. I mean, I know they went a bit stale in the end, and they sacked him. Obviously, bought Moyes, but
but every club has their every manager has their cycle at a club, don't they?
Yeah.
That happens. So for me, the point I'm getting at is, and the other thing to bring up the points from, was it Noob Adok or whatever it's called? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But having said that, he says, though I have to say you lot are doing far better than I was expecting, and it pains me to say that.
Mate, I think it's been all right,
I respect you for saying that, mate, but it pained me when you got took over. There you go. We'll leave that as it is. And of course, Chris Wilder's winning 3-0. I can't stand him. Right, let's move on to Leeds Villa. Oh, God.
Michael loves Chris Wilder.
I can't stand him. I think he's a prick. But we'll move on from that. To be fair, they're playing Sheff Wed. I think they probably should be winning that, really. But a shame for Sheff Wed. I like them a lot as a club. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is the PSR situation. The thing that makes me a bit more optimistic is the fact that what people have got to bear in mind, Sunderland as a promoted club, PSR-wise, can't just go and spend the money that the likes of West Ham can. And I'll give you a good example. Everton, for example, went and signed Tyler Dibling from Southampton for, what was it, 40-odd million or whatever it was.
Yeah.
West Ham, oh, well, we need to spend a bit of money. No problem, Southampton, here's 45 million for Matheus Fernandes. We can't do that yet. If we stay up this season, then there's a chance next season we could do that, maybe, if we play our cards right.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. So I think we've just got to, for me personally, I think you've just got to make sure we keep our feet on the ground. And this is what I've said. This season for me is all about staying up and ideally doing it comfortably. But the fact is for me, and I don't know what, I'll ask Dave this, well, both of you, but I'll start with Dave. I think the start we've made gives us the license to have a bad run if it ends up happening. Obviously, we don't want it to, but we're realistic. It's in the Premier League. We're underdogs in most games. There is a chance we will probably go through a mini winless run.
Yeah.
But even in a winless run, if we get, say, if you didn't get a win for 8-9 games, but you picked up 4 draws in that, make sure you're getting something in games. And another big factor as well, make sure the goal difference stays good.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about taking the board over, isn't it? Try and get points when you can, and as I said earlier in earlier chats here, if we get to 40 points as quickly as you possibly can, that's the key. When you were saying before about January, we probably will add a couple, probably, but it's not just about have you got the money. It's about, do you want to go there? Now, who are Wolves going to sign? Nobody's going to go there. Burnley could be in a similar situation. You know. So in Leeds, well, that'll depend on if they do sack Farker. I think they were in a position. If we think about this, they finished 24 points above us. And
Yeah.
8 points behind us. That's a hell of a swing, points wise.
No, I agree.
So we've done our business right. We've just got to continue. We haven't got to panic. We haven't got to go, we lost 1-0 to Fulham. That's the end of the world. We've got to keep ourselves level and say, okay, we lost. Let's go again.
Yeah.
No, go on, Washaw. What do you think to add to that then?
No, I was just reading the comment, Michael. I don't know if I can get up on the screen, can I? I think you've got to do it.
Which one do you want me to get up?
I think the early one, the Grindon 100.
The Grind and the 100. Where am I looking here? Oh, yes. This one.
It's just
I put it up earlier, but I'll go for it.
Oh, right, sorry. I was.
No, that's fine. So, hi everyone. I'm like Sean. I had a funny feeling we would slip up. Onwards to the next game. Things happen for a reason. Brings us back down to earth in a bit of a fashion. Maybe in a long way of saying things, this could be, depending on how we bounce back, this could be a good thing for us, to be fair. It could be one of those, just to remind people and remind the squad, you've got to be on it. If you're not at 100% in this league, in a league as ruthless as the Premier League, you get beaten, you get punished for it. So this is what I mean. But I think I want to quickly touch on the AFCON thing before we start to look ahead to Bournemouth. I think for me, a lot of people are... Now, I do think AFCON will certainly be an issue in the fact that we are going to lose... What is this? Off the top of my head, I think it's Masuaku, Reynildo, Talby, Adingra, Traore, Siddiqui and Diarra. So we'll lose all of them 7 for AFCON. Now, I don't know if you've seen apparently, but the rules are meant to be that you have to lose those players. The nation can call those players up 2 weeks before the tournament starts, which if that happens means they miss the Nags game.
Oh, God.
Now, for me, I would like to think, and I could be wrong here, but I'd like to think Sunderland are negotiating with the nations and going, right, look, we've got the time we are Derby coming up. This is a massive game for us. This is one where, take out the Newcastle factor, right? I think Newcastle at St. James's is a difficult game for anyone in the Premier League. I hate to admit it. I detest them. But I have to admit it. They are a very, very... Man City found that out yesterday. So, annoyingly. But they found it out yesterday. Now, I know people can make a lot about their away form. Derby games are totally different. And I think even take out the fact it's a Derby, even getting something there could be huge just for our chances of staying up. But what I was going to mention was, but I think AFCON is definitely a problem. To bring it back to my overall point, AFCON can be an issue, but I think a lot of people are making it out like AFCON is going to be for the entirety of the rest of the season, and it's not. It's going to be at most longest until mid-January. Yeah. So for me, I think the big thing for me is by the time we get to say mid-January, when all these players will be coming back, obviously some of them will come back earlier than others, depending on how their nations do in the tournament. But by the end of AFCON, if we can make sure we're still out of the bottom 3 at very worst, then I think we're in a good position to crack on and really attack the rest of the season, attack the rest of the second half of the season. But That's what I think. I don't know what you guys think about the AFCON thing, because it is a concern to me, but I think it's getting slightly overblown.
I'm a little worried, Michael. I'll be honest, a little bit. I'm not overly concerned. I believe that these Christian Spinkman and Kosofi and KLD will have knew that sign all these players, AFCON players.
You'd like to hope so.
They'll have something.
I think they will have done.
They'll have something up the sleeves, but I think these are two switched on for me to like sort of, they know they've got some leeway in January as well. I think we'll bring players in. I think there'll be a few going out as well. I think like as a certain Dan Neil. I'm still not sure what's happened with Dan Neil. He hasn't even featured. Maybe he could slot in when.
Maybe he's a pub player now.
Sadiq, Thomas.
No, I know what you mean.
Sadiq and Diarra, I think when they go, maybe Daniel will get a chance there. I don't know. Is Daniel good enough for the Premier League? We'll get to find out sooner about Daniel. But I do think Daniel's got some qualities. I think sometimes people's a bit harsh with him, but
I agree.
That just happens. He's a local lad. It happens, doesn't it? But
if I'm honest, Sean, if I ask you this, do you honestly think Daniel will be here this time next season? I don't think he will. I think he'll either be sold in January or he'll leave at the end of his contract. I think
it's went on too long, Michael. He's into his last 6 months, so these will try and get something unless he's already signed a deal. End of the season.
If he signed a deal, then they've done a very good job at hiding it.
No, not sign a deal with the clubs.
I mean sign a contract with someone else.
He can go free on a Bosman rule in next summer. So maybe his agents said, "Look, there's a deal on the table for you," and he might have, just keeping it quiet, and he might just see his contract out and be aware. You wouldn't blame him in a sense because he wants to play football. He hasn't played any at all. He won't be on a massive wage. I mean. Is he a Premier League player? But like you say, we don't know yet. He hasn't had a chance. But
I suppose, to be fair, you could argue that about anyone, couldn't you? You could argue that about Luke O'Nien. Is Luke O'Nien a Premier League player? But we haven't seen a chance of it. But you know what I mean? Like, I think it's... and as much as I love Luke O'Nien, I'd be very surprised if he's able to... I think Luke O'Nien, by the way, just being serious, right? I don't think Luke O'Nien probably has the capability of playing in the Premier League. Not if you're wanting... Not with VAR probably having his life. But of course, having said that, that doesn't mean he doesn't offer something, because behind the scenes, I think he'll be a massive figure.
Absolutely.
And like the same way, if you read the piece from the excellent James Copley from the Sunderland Echo, he made the point about the standards raised in. Okay, it wasn't there yesterday, but in general, the standards raised at the club and the drive at the club. And I think Luke O'Nien will be a bigger figure in that than we think he will be. So I think he'll have his uses even if he doesn't end up playing. And Luke O'Nien's not going to be on a huge amount of money either compared to Premier League
League
players.
He signed a new deal just recently, Luke O'Nien, didn't he? But I firmly believe that it'd be huge in the dressing room, just with the young lads coming in.
Yeah, I agree.
The new signs coming in from abroad. I think he loves the club. You can see he loves the club. So having somebody like that, although he's not playing, it'd be good to have him, especially in derbies as well. He knows how much the fans, how much this match means for the Newcastle game coming up. I think Luke O'Nien's and Dan Neil's, he's a local lad. Chris Riggs, they know how big this game is, and they can sort of tell it to the new guys who stand in the summer, because see, it's not far away now, the Newcastle game, and you're thinking in the back of your mind, I know you've got Bournemouth, you've got Liverpool, is it City, then is it
City after that, then Newcastle.
Newcastle, it's coming close, but like going back to that AFCON thing, Dave, it is a bit of a worry, but I think some people's going overboard. I do think these will have another plan for that in mind, and I think that we might say, like you say, these fringe players might come in and do a job. I mean, Mundell's back now. Dan Neil might
be there as well.
Who, Michael?
Chris Rigg.
Chris Rigg. So I don't know what you think, Dave.
Well, you mentioned before there about somebody, I think it was Michael there, mentioned about the club doing some sort of negotiation. I read something about that last week, and I know Manchester United certainly are trying to do some sort of deal as well, to get their players to go as late as possible. But again, I don't know the fixtures for the AFCON.
Well, I do, because I'm sad. So,
I mean, it's when will our players play? Bearing in mind here, we've mentioned 7 players. Diarra hasn't played for over weeks because of his injury.
Yeah, my concern with that would be that I think his nation will want to take him if there's any chance of him being fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he hasn't been there. So, listen, he hasn't played anyway. So we're playing without him now. If you think about the players that are left,
it's only Siddiqui and Reynaldo that are featuring regularly now. Maybe Traore to an extent as well.
Yeah, Good point, Dave. Good point. That.
Yeah, no, I've completely forgot about that. To be fair, then, okay, so the fixtures during AFCON, right? Are we including Newcastle in this?
Well,
And
yeah,
that's the last game before they all go away.
that's
Isn't it?
the game before.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'll include Newcastle anyway. Then, so you got Newcastle, but then after that, it's like then it's Brighton away, then it's Leeds at home. Now, regardless of AFCON, that's a game we have to get a result in my opinion. Leeds
Yeah.
at home. And I think we should be good enough to do it, in my opinion,
Yeah.
regardless of who's away.
Yeah.
Whether as long as we turn up on the day, obviously. Then it's Man City at home, then Tottenham away, then Brentford away, and then Palace at home. Those are the 6 games that, assuming we have these lads for Newcastle, those are the 6 games that will be that a couple of players will be missing. And important to remember as well, not all of them are going to be gone for all of those games. Some of them, like Ray Nildo's nation, is not expected to do very well. So apparently he could be back by the new year, maybe. So, but let's assume it's 6 then. That's the point. So to reiterate: Brighton away, Leeds at home, Man City at home, Spurs away, Brentford away, Crystal Palace at home.
Yeah. Well, you were talking before there as well about contract situations. Dennis Serkin as well. He hasn't signed a new contract, but in the last couple of games he's played, when he's come back, he's not looked too bad. So maybe he could fill in for Ronaldo. I don't know. Maybe he could. Maybe they would use Trey Young over there, put Michieli at right back, and they've still got Ballard, Gertruda, and Alderete, injury permitting, of course. Then there's Xhaka, and then you could move Gertruda into midfield. You could play Raffair there. We have got options.
I was going to ask you to then. So, say in AFCON, when all these 7 players are going to be not in the squad, let's assume Diarra still goes. So what would your team be then? Assume injury permitting, of course.
Injury permitting.
Yeah. So say we get quite fortunate with injuries with all these players missing for AFCON. What would your main 11 be? Obviously, that can vary depending on game to game. But what would your main 11 be?
Well, hopefully, Roofs is going to stay fit. There was a bit of a problem yesterday, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
It was mentioned that there was a scare.
Yeah.
For me, you would play, depending on who we play, whether we play 5 or we play 4. Hume would go to left back, and Michieli would play it right. Alderete and Ballard, Gertrude in front of them, Xhaka and Raffair. And then, depending again, as you say, Isidore's available, Brobby's available, Mayenda's available, and Mundo, hopefully. There is still that. I don't know who you'd play up front, but to me, in the games when they're away, keeping clean sheets or as good as is the key. And we've got those players there, if they're fit, that it's not going to make a great deal of difference there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Sean? What would your team be?
I was just thinking about the left back situation. Would I put Masiwaka back in there? But I wasn't.
Masiwaka's away anyway.
Oh, is he away?
He's
right.
one of the lads who's going to AFCON.
Right, so
you have to put your least favourite Sunderland left back ever or full back just a Hume.
I'm not sure about certain. To be fair, in the Premier League, so I probably would play Trey Hume left back.
Second would be depth. I think he would probably come in and be on the bench most games.
Yeah, I think Trey Hume left back. Michieli right back, Alderete at Ballard, Gertrude probably sitting with Xhaka in the middle, and I don't know about maybe it's Dan Neil in there with Xhaka, Lafay on the left, or Mundle on the left, Lafay on the right, and like you see, it's a case of Isidore or Brian Brobby in it.
You can't play Mayenda on the right. You can't play.
No, I was just about to mention that. Funny enough, well, mine would probably be, assuming it's a 4-3-3. Then mine would probably be something like Roofs, Michieli, Ballard, Alderete, Hume. Then I think it would be Gertrude and Xhaka in the middle, with Rig in front of the two of them, and then you could say, or you could even put Lafay in front of the two of them, put Rig on the right, because Rig can play there. I'd prefer Rig in the middle, but Rig can play on the right, and then Mundle if he's fit on the left. But again, we're relying on Mundle staying fit, and I hope he does, because I really do like him. But you got then you got an option of the forwards, or it could be you could have Lafay on the left, Rig in the centre, as a 10, and then have Mayenda put on the right, and then Isidore Brobby up front. There are definitely options that we can do, but it's just. And I do believe what Dave said, what Sean said. They will have planned for this, I think, and it'd be incredibly naive from them if they haven't done. But I think there will have been a plan there to say, right, okay, then this is going to be a hard period, but there's going to be options here for when these guys are away in AFCON.
Do you know what my worry? I mentioned this earlier, lads. Right, it's a big worry for me is our lack of creativity. That's that one player who can just unlock the door. Who can just pick out that pass who can just see a kill a ball to Isidore or to your Brian Broby. I just think we just lack that in the middle. We've got some good battlers in there. I mean, Jack is brilliant. He's been one of the signs of the season. He's so professional on and off the pitch. He gives 100%. He adds that quality, but just that one player in the centre midfield, just somebody who can unlock the door. I just think we're lacking that key area. I don't know what you guys.
Just to quickly put on Ollie's comment, no, I don't think Alderete is going away.
No,
I'm pretty sure he's not.
No, he's South American, Michael.
Uruguayan.
There you go then. Well, my geography is terrible, so you two would have to correct me on that anyway. But yeah, the point is, but you're right. I mean, you could say about unlocking the door. Faye was seconds away was a whisker of the post away from doing that start the second half yesterday. But but I know the general point you're getting at. The problem again that I keep mentioning before, and I think you both agree on this: if you're wanting those elite level players at Premier League level, you have to be established and to afford them because they probably cost about 50-60 million pound each. That's just how that's how stupid the market is these days. So I think I do get your point, and I do think it is a concern. I do think, I mean, what is it? We scored, 14 goals, I think, so far this season. Villa, if you could not turn crap, please, that'd be really appreciated. But yeah, so I've just got the Leeds Villa game on in the background. But what I was going to say was, I think it's the 14 goals Dave mentioned earlier that we've scored. We've conceded 11. Now, the way I look at it is
plus 3.
Yeah. So I think we've still scored. Well, obviously, depending what happens here with Leeds, we've scored more than the current bottom 3. We've scored, I think, twice as much as Wolves have, but obviously Wolves have been abhorrently terrible. So I think there's a bit of an asterisk next to that in some ways. Obviously, Burnley, to be fair, they've had harder fixtures, but this is where I think January could be huge, though. One area that I would really like to see us improve in, and it sounds harsh, but I like Talby. I think Talby's got a bright future. I think if he develops well, I think he'll become a really good top-end player. Traore's obviously got Premier League experience. Adingra the same, but I think we could do with just that little bit of extra star quality on the wings. That's the one area for me where I think we would really do that. And actually, I think yesterday when Sean mentioned about a midfielder unlocking the door, tell you midfielder, I thought we did miss massively. Habib Diarra. I think yesterday was an example of how his offensive athleticism and energy is, and I know that Siddiqui has that as well. Is that athleticism and energy in the same thing, same sentence? But really, for me, they're not the same type of player. They're not the... Siddiqui's kind of the more... Oh, hang on. Our Leeds have scored.
What's that?
Villa, you bottling bastards. Anyway, no, well, I was going to... Well, hopefully it gets disallowed, but... Anyway, no, what I was going to say... Well, either way, we're still probably 8 points off the bottom 3 then, because West Ham is still on the same points, but either way, what I was going to say was, I think... Although obviously there are those issues, I think on the wings is where I'd like to see us really recruit in January. And I mean, like... if we've got the PSR wiggle room, go out and get one for 35, 40 million if we can. How much scope we've got to do that? Because as we know, January is a notoriously hard window to operate in. I don't know. So we'll wait and see.
Well, they know what they're doing, because if you just analyse what they did in the summer, they made sure they were tight at the back. And they knew also that buying players at the back isn't as costly as buying people who score goals or create chances. So they locked the door. They tried to make sure they didn't let as many goals in. Let's see if we can get to January and then see what wiggle room is. See if we can afford to bring in a striker, a winger, and a midfield player. Now, they've already been linked with 3, haven't they? Possibilities.
Yeah.
And the lad who's the midfield player, I can't remember his name.
Guendouzi?
Matteo
Guendouzi.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he already knows Lebris because he was at the run.
Yeah, and Jacket knows him from the Arsenal days as well. So
He came through the academy there when Lebris was in charge of it. So hopefully they got on, because if they did, then there's a chance that he would choose us. And as you say, he was good enough to sign for Arsenal. So we'll just have to see. But that does appear to be wiggle room.
Well, that's what I'd hope for anyway. If there is genuinely good wiggle room, I think that could be massive for us. And to be fair, as much stick as I've given KLD before, and Sean knows this better than anyone, I've given KLD so much stick in the past. But having said all of that, this season we cannot argue that he has gone and been as ambitious as he possibly can.
Absolutely,
and obviously, to some extent, we had to make a lot of those signings that we did to have a chance of being competitive in the Premier League. But I do stand by my point that I think if KLD's been that ambitious in the summer, in January, I don't see any reason why he won't be. Now, I'm not expecting us to spend anywhere near as much as we did in the summer, because then we had to spend that much. Whereas in January, I would rather we went out and just got one or two or three top draw quality signings. If we really do have the wiggle room with PSR and we're willing to spend it, and we find someone at the right price, because it's also important not to get our pants pulled down either. Then I think, why not go for it? I don't know what you think, Sean.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the whole squad, you can see everybody sees what the issues are. Our defence is one of the best defences in the league. I think Arsenal has only conceded 5 or 6 goals, which is phenomenal. But apart from that, we're in the mix of one of the best defensive teams in the league. But offensively, that's where the issue is for me. And I think we must be, trying to look at getting somebody in the middle, I would say, to get that up a little bit, because we do, like in certain games, we do lack that flair like player to unlock defences. Is that the other? But I don't know, it's a strange one. I think they'll have a plan in January, Michael. We've got to hope anyway, and I don't think we'll spend massive amounts of money, if I'm being honest. You might bring one signing where you spend a bit of money, but I think it'll be a couple of loans, maybe, Michael. A couple of loans, just from abroad. He's got to hope they can get a couple of gems. Do you know what I mean?
Potentially, yeah.
That's what I think we'll probably end up doing as well. Sorry, Dave, go on.
No, I think that's the way forward. And I think what we've done as well, as I said just before there, we've made sure that we were competitive enough defensively that we can, defend well, to be able to look to other positions from January. And I know there's still talk about that Gachimi, as they call him. There's still talk about him as a defender. But maybe that's something to put on the back burner, because we need to look to make sure that we can get these extra 21 points or more.
Preferably more, yes, but at minimum 21 points.
I think I read on Twitter for a reliable journalist that I think that's basically been cooled down now, because I think they've looked at it and went, well, we've got a lot of cover in defence, haven't we? We've got a lot of cover in defence. I don't think if we're gonna go for it again in January, I can't see us going for more defensive players when we've already got cover left, right back, centre backs. I think we are right there. I think, but the problem I think we've got, like you see it, is creating goals, is getting goals. I think that's going to be our issue. I think we can keep clean sheets, we can battle games out, we can get draws, we can hound them out. But you need something more from your attacking midfielders, I think, to get your goals. And I think that's what we're lacking.
I think what we'll have to do as well is we'll have to trust the people in charge.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They've done really well.
They've earned that trust.
I've worked with them in the past, perhaps, but they've done really well. And I think it was Paul Merson said something about whoever's in charge of recruitment should have a knighthood.
Yeah,
at Sunderland, because the way they've gone about it, the way they've brought people in, the way they've made them able to play in all positions. Gertrude can come into midfield, he can play at right back. McKaylee can play at right back or centre back. And the only one who we've really signed that is specifically in a position, as far as I can see, is Xhaka. But you would want him anyway.
Yeah.
So, we cannot be vexed with what they've done. Hopefully, come January, there will be some more movement there.
I can't believe that some people were questioning. I mean, me and Mike have seen over the years when we've been to League One grounds, and Speakman used to get a lot of flack. I mean, didn't get us wrong. I mean, I think Stuart Harvey leaving was a bit of a. Me and Michael have discussed about this, because I think he did a lot of good things behind the scenes. Stuart Harvey, head of recruitment. I was hoping that I was thinking about what's going on there, but we have brought in Gasofi, who's he was linked with a lot of high profile clubs in Europe, wasn't he, Michael? So you think, obviously, Speakman and Gasofi, they're the ones who's bringing these players in. You've got to just sort of trust in them. But I mean, I couldn't believe when Speakman used to get so much flack back in the day, didn't he, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of the criticism he got over the years was deserved. But in general, I think him and Stuart Harvey both revolutionised the club in many ways. And I think the reason we didn't spend so much in the Championship as what people would have liked is because when we got to the Premier League, when you really have to spend money, we've got as much scope to spend as much as possible and give ourselves the best chance of staying in the Premier League, which is where we belong.
Yeah.
So I think with Stuart Harvey going, I think obviously I'm gutted that he has gone. But with Gazolfi coming in, I get the impression that was kind of inevitable that Harvey was going to go, because I think Gazolfi's wanting to try and take the club up to the next level and actually be able to. And sometimes it's not wrong with that. Sometimes you just got to be ruthless and say, well, okay, then, Stuart Harvey, you've done absolutely brilliantly for us, but we've got to move on had to pastures a new and higher level.
Of the times, have you, Michael? That's a good point. That's a good point. Are you going to say it?
That's a key. The key word is ruthless. We've said what we've done is the same as we've done on the pitch. We've gone, well, thank you, lads. You've done a great job getting with here. However, we don't think you're good enough to this next level. We're going to bring somebody else in who is good enough for the next level. We knew Giuseppe was, and we've moved there just the same as we said. Well, thanks, Dan Neary, you've captained the club to promotion. However, we're bringing Zaka in.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, it's going on to Trey Hume as well. I think Trey Hume's done well this season when I think about it. And I was the one I was sort of thinking, I didn't think he's going to be good enough, but I think he's actually done really well. But yesterday I was seeing some comments on social media just saying that maybe it's time for him to sit out a couple of games. I don't know if Michael's saying it on Twitter. I don't really go on it much now, but I just seen a couple of comments saying that maybe it's time for Trey.
It wouldn't surprise me if Michele ends up moving there at some point. But we'll see. No, but I think to sort of move on to January. Well, to move on to Bournemouth, I suppose. If you're looking at the games coming up, so obviously with the fact you've got such easy games as Liverpool and Man City away after that.
Yeah.
Joking aside, I do get the impression, and I watched On the Whistle from Phil Smith and the Sunderland Echo. It's really good content. Yeah. He was mentioned hopeful, and he mentioned that he thinks there will be a reaction from this, and that we will kind of hopefully be a bit wounded from the defeat yesterday for our standards. And I really hope that that's going to be the case, because I think we're better than we showed yesterday, as much good as Fulham ended up being. I think this game's massive, and I think Sunderland need to bounce back and at least get a result of some description. I don't know what either of you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, we've got to. I mean, the game on Saturday is huge. It's I don't want to say it's the biggest game of the season, because we've said that a few times over, like how big certain games are. But I think just
even if it's not the biggest, it's a huge game.
Oh, it's absolutely, and I think you said earlier on, Michael, about us. Even if we got a point, I mean, as some people say, Sean, that's a bit negative because we need to get all three. I mean, all three would be great, but I tell you what, they're a good side. I was watching them a few times this season, and they are a good team. They're well drilled and they're
don't underestimate them.
Do you know what I mean? You can't go into that game being complacent. You've got to be.
I don't think we will, Sean.
No.
I don't think we will.
No.
Not off the back of yesterday, I don't think we will.
They have had a little bit of a blip recently there, but they put themselves back yesterday after they were 2 down. So they're obviously not a bad side. They're a good side, and they're doing well. But everybody in the Premier League is a good side, as you have alluded to previously there.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know much about their manager, Andoni Arioli, but it seems to me like he's one of these who just sort of he just gets work rate. He wants his teams working hard, wants them disciplined. And like I say, the games I've seen have been good, but I'm just hoping Semenyo, who used to play for us, remember a few years ago in League One, I'm hoping he's not playing because he's on his day he's a quality individual.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this game is. And the thing I want to ask you is about the system and the formations, because this has been talked about quite a bit. Obviously, the 5 at the back system, I think, has its place, and I don't mind either system. I think it entirely depends on the strengths or the opponent that you're playing as to what system you play for, and whether certain systems are better suited to certain games. I do get the impression in this one we probably could maybe do with a 3-man midfield to try and overrun Bournemouth a bit. What would you guys say? Do you stick with the back 5, or do you think you would go back to a back 4?
Nah, for me at home, even if it's no disrespect here, if it's not like against Man City's, Liverpool's, Arsenal's, I think you've got at home. I think you've got to play 4 at the back and try and go for it a little bit more. Like when we're playing, playing Chelsea's, we are Arsenal's, and we are Man City's, we are Liverpool. You're going to play a 5 at the back, aren't you, every time, really, to try and contain them. But I think when you're at home, even though Bournemouth are a very good side, they're well organised and they'll offer a lot of dangers to Sunderland. But I think if we can just turn up like we have in a lot of games this season and be on it from the first whistle, I think we can get something out of the game.
Yeah, I just don't want we're being rigid. I don't want we're playing just five. I would like to see we play Gertruda, who can play in the middle of the back, and then he can come out while Ballard and McGeary stay there. He can come out and he can go forward. He's already proved he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But also he can drop in as well. I
Yeah.
would be in Gertruda coming out from that back alongside Zaka with Siddiqui in front, and then go for something up front. I would perhaps try playing Isidore with Bobby.
Try a 4-4. Would you see a 4-4-2 like Dave?
I'm not really keen on 4-4-2, 4-4-3, 4-3-3, whatever. Just make it fluid. Make it so that people can come in and interchange positions and go in and have a go. Isidore could go in front of Broby. Broby could go in front and Isidore could go left. Make things fluid.
Yeah, you mean like a 4-3-3 or something like that. Yeah.
Maybe, but also if you've got Gertruda playing in that position, you've got five at the back, but you've also got three in midfield when we go forward.
Yeah.
It's that fluidity to go into those positions and just it's total football, if you like. It's the way if you go back years and years and years when the Dutch played with Cruyff and them, nobody had a position.
Yeah, this mixed jumping
in everywhere. And
yeah.
I think that's going to be. I think for me, another component I think when misses Alderete. I think Alderete is, in terms of like the central defenders, unless you're counting Gertruda at that, then for me, Alderete is really good at bringing the ball out. He's really good. He's a good defender, but he's also got technical ability as well. And I think that's going to be huge if we're going to get anything out of this.
But there you are again, Michael. You've got that possibility where Alderete gets it, he comes out, Gertruda comes in and fits in for him.
But that's where having a bit of depth is concerned, isn't it? It's nice to actually have those discussions in the sort of defensive options. And I think you were right in what you said about the first thing we had to make sure we recruit for in the summer is to make sure we're in games and we're always going to be defensively good enough to be able to try and get something out of games. And then obviously they cost less to recruit for than the attacking players. So we'll wait and see. But if I had to, but like I said, I think for me next Saturday, it's important. Like I said, it's important that we start well. It's important the home, and I think to be fair, the home fans will be with the team. I think they'll absolutely be up for it, and I think the players I'm hoping will want to make an effort to bounce back. Anton Stack's gone off for Leeds, by the way, in case anyone's interested, and he's actually been quite good. So, yeah, these are the teams I'm looking at. We want to finish above them, so hopefully we do, but we'll see. But
I'd like to see Alderete back on Saturday. If I'm honest, I don't know if you what team you'd start with on Saturday. What changes you would make, but I really like Alderete. I really like Ballard. I like Mukiele. I like Gertruda. But who's going to sit out? That's the thing.
Well, all right. Then what team would you both start with? If it was up to you, what would you go for?
Right, I'll go with obviously Roofs. Long as he's okay. I pray to God he is. Roofs, Ronaldo left back. I'm going to go with Alderete, Ballard, Mukiele right back as the four. Then I'm going to see Xhaka. Gertrude to sit in front of them. Xhaka in the middle. Let's see Rig. No, not Rig. You're
missing Siddiqui out?
No, Siddiqui with Fez. Xhaka.
I thought you were going to say because of his 4 yellow cards thing, you want to sort of just keep him on the sidelines so he doesn't get booked before the next game.
There's other glimpses of Traore where I've been impressed with as well. So I would, and I've been sitting. I think we should maybe change him with Talby, but I think stick with Traore on Saturday. The fear on the left, maybe bring Talby in for the fear on the left. I don't think he will. I think the fear will start. I think Traore will start, and I think I would start Brian Broby as well instead of Isidore.
Okay, Dave, what would you go for? It was up to you.
Again, I think I would like to start with Broby, play Isidore from on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I like Talby.
Yeah, Talby instead of Lafia, or Talby instead of Traore.
I like Lafia as well. I think the good thing about it is we do have good options. We can move people about, and the yellow card situation is obviously looming up, but we kind of just not play players because they're on
Yeah, that's
a
it.
yellow
Oh yeah.
card. We need these points. So yeah, I think I would stick with as we've been pretty much, but I would play Broby and Isidore.
Your back four, Dave, who would your back four be? Or is it back four, or back three, or back five?
I don't know. It's tough to just put. I like you.
If it's a back four, someone's going to get dropped, aren't they?
Well, that's it.
Absolutely. If it's a back four, somebody getting dropped. If it's a back five, someone's getting dropped because
No,
you
yeah.
bring
Yeah.
Alderete in for
Picture, yeah.
Gertrude, or do you bring Alderete in for you and play McKelly at right? Either way, it's strong.
Alderete will come back in, I think. I think Alderete will definitely come back in
I
Saturday.
think he will.
Yeah, and I think I've got a feeling Hume might get dropped, Michael. I don't know what I've got for it. I think Mukiele might go right back and Ronaldo left back. I think that'll be the back four. Ronaldo, Alderete, Ballard and Mukiele right back as the four. I think Gertrude is sitting, Xhaka, Siddiqui, Trio on the right, Talby on the left, maybe Lafia, and out here Brian Broby. That'll be my team.
I would probably go with that. Obviously, Roof's in goal. Obviously, assuming everyone's fit.
Yeah.
Roof's. It's a tricky one. This. I'm really struggling between Hume. I think you probably keep Mukiele there because of long throws. I say Mukiele, Ballard, Alderete, Reinildo. And I know it might sound harsh dropping Hume, but I think and I like Hume a lot. But I think Mukiele's long throws are going to be essential if we're going to try. If we're going to try and cause Bournemouth problems. So I think I'd say them them four, back five, including the goalkeeper. I'd say Xhaka and Siddiqui for the start, but I wouldn't complain if Gertrude was in there in a three-man midfield.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I'll say Xhaka and Siddiqui. Well, this is where it's tricky, isn't it?
It is tricky. That's the whole point of it.
No, yeah, that's the whole point. It's hard to try and
The
it's
good
hard to
thing
try.
is it's tricky because you've got options.
Well, that's whether you want to have these discussions, don't you? So I would say probably I'd keep Lafay on the left for the minute because I know he was poor yesterday, but he almost got a goal for us. And I think had Talby just played him in minutes before minutes before Fulham went and scored,
I
he could have done something there.
I think
for me, Lafay on the left, Traore, I agree with Sean actually on the right. I wouldn't complain if Talby started, but I think Traore on the right would actually be quite handy. And then I would say probably maybe Rig. I'd be tempted to see maybe Rig start.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably like Broby or Isidore up front, whichever one for me.
Yeah.
But I think Dave mentioned this early on as well. I was going to bring this up about the yellow card situations, Michael.
Yep.
I mean, I think, is it Siddiqui and Xhaka's on one more yellow away from a suspension? Is that the only two, is it? I'm sure it is.
I think so. Ballard got a booking yesterday, but I don't know how many. I'll check how many cards he's on because he's probably
I really hope that
they're all fit they're all there for the Manx game.
Especially Xhaka. Xhaka is going to be so instrumental, so important for that game. It'll be huge. We've got to have Xhaka playing for the derby.
The one thing they've got is their midfield's really good.
Yeah.
And City found that out with their cost yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see the game, but I think, like you said, Bruno, Guimaraes, Tonali. I don't know if Jonathan played because he's been struggling.
Yeah, did
he play? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that Harvey Barnes, he's been popping up with some goals.
He was good yesterday, to be fair.
Valdemada, he's looking like could be a really good signing. I mean, I don't even like speaking about them to tell you the truth, but I'm just looking through their side though. But you've got Livramento right back, Lewis Hall is Botman, Chow. They've got a really good side. It's just on the DNS.
Well, hopefully when they play Leverkusen in the Champions League a few days earlier, they put a lot of effort into that game, and then they're absolutely shattered by the Derby game. But yes, I'm looking into that too much. No, I don't regret it.
Xhaka might be speaking to his old teammates
and rough these guys up, yeah. Just make sure that they're like, all the best players are out against us. It's fine. To answer the question, by the way, I thought Dan Ballard had quite a few, but it turns out yesterday was his first yellow card of the season.
Good.
Yeah, I was astonished. I thought for sure he had about 2 or 3 at this point, but thankfully that's not the case. But either way, though, right. So let's move on. So, what's your gut feeling for next weekend? Bournemouth at the Stadium. Like I said before, with Liverpool and Man City away coming up after that, I do get the impression we probably do need to get something out of this. I'll go first. I think I'm going to go. I'm probably sounding a bit conservative here, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw, and I think that in the context of things, as long as the teams I want to lose, I wouldn't complain too much with that. I think if you get that, then you get to 20 points halfway to 40. And I think Bournemouth aren't a bad team either. But if we can win, it'll be absolutely massive.
I'm thinking it's one of them games where a little bit like.
Can your gut feeling be good, please? Because last year, your gut feeling wasn't great and we're lost.
I've got my feeling for next Saturday is that one of them like the Brentford and not so much the Wolves game because I think that was very comfortable, but the Brentford where we fought hard and we ended up grinding the result out in the end, we're getting the 3 points. I think it could be like one of them type of games, and I'm going to see it. And I'm just being optimistic. I try not to be negative at all. I try my best not to be. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. With Sunderland, a very tight 2-1.
Let's not lose. Let's keep a clean sheet. Then we can't lose.
Aye.
It's all nice and simple.
Dave's known me far too long.
It's all nice and simple.
Yeah.
No, they've got a nice. Well, Ollie's very optimistic. 3-2 to Bournemouth, so we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Like I said, just because we've lost to Fulham doesn't mean we're going to lose like games after that. This Premier League football doesn't work linearly like that. So, but go on then, Dave. Me and Sean are giving predictions. You have to give one.
2-1 Sunderland.
Hey.
There we go. I'll be absolutely over the moon with that. Right. And yes, but like I said, we'll wait and see. And the last thing I'll quickly say, I can't remember if I said this at the top of the stream, but Sunderland, for away games for the rest of the season, you know the colour shirt Sean's wearing right now? Don't wear that ever again, please, because I'm superstitious. We have not scored a goal in that. We've lost 2 out of 3 in that kit, so don't do it again.
Michael Bowers, you superstitious bastard.
Well, you're not wrong. So we'll wait and see. Dave's going to be going like superstition, my arse. There's nothing in this whatsoever.
I'm with you. I'm always a bit superstitious about things like that.
Yeah, I'm quite embarrassingly superstitious, to be totally honest. So I think we'll leave it said then. Unless either of you got any more talking points, I think we'll end the stream there.
One quick thing, one comedic thing. I don't know if anybody's heard of or seen this. Alison Rudd. Do you know who she is?
Yes, I think I know what you're going to say, but go on.
Yeah, Alison Rudd is the one of the football writers for the Times.
Yes.
On Times TV, she said that we played against Arsenal like a team in the FA Cup, playing above themselves because we were nowhere near as good as them, but we just put in a good shift, bless her, and somehow managed to get a draw out the game. You know, I think he set women back in football 20 years, frankly. Because that's what the sort of people who don't want women in football say, there you go, in and out about football. It's absolutely ridiculous things to say. And also at one point said that if we'd played with a team that got promoted, we would have got thrashed. I can't disagree with her there. Also, then she went on to say, but you've been unfair to the team that got promoted because you've signed players.
I know. How dare Sunderland want to give themselves a chance of not going straight back down?
Might have been on substances.
I know which comments you're referring to. I have heard about these. I think she's described it as immoral or something. The fact we signed so many of these players, and I'm like, do you know the weird thing is, right? She put an article up in the Times a few days after that and said we were going to finish 7th in the predicted table. I'm like, you've done a complete 180 here. You've said a minute ago then that Sunderland played like a team against Arsenal that didn't know their place. And it was an epic, and how mighty Arsenal were better than a much better team, which they should be. It's Arsenal. We're a promoted club. Come on. And then you go on and say we're going to get 7th. Like, well, hang on a minute. Which one is it?
It's not consistent. And then I looked because I was absolutely certain she was an Arsenal fan, and she's not. She's a Liverpool fan.
Can you get the impression Dave's needed to get this off his chest?
Yeah, I think probably you're right there. Unbelievable.
For what it's worth, I think Alison's predicted table of us finishing 7th is quite optimistic. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think if you gave us a nice 14th, 12th place finish, I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah,
if you offered me it right now. So we'll wait and see. But yes, I have heard the comments you made. Like at the end of the day, if you're talking about playing like a team that didn't know their place and everything else, I'm like, Alison, look, like. That sounds condescending, actually, when I say it like that. But the point is, like, Alison, come on. Like, we're not going to go down and go, oh, bow Lord to mighty Arsenal. We can't get anything out of this game. Let's just play the game the way they want and not have any physicality and get steamrolled. Okay, then. Of course we're not going to do that, But, I don't know. It's just baffling to me. Some of the comments we've seen so far this season are just mental. But anyways, Yes, but anyway, I think unless, and like I said, now I think unless you've got anything more to add, I think we're going to end it there because
No, I think we've
pretty much covered everything.
enough. We went on for an hour. It's been a good.
Play to the 3 people who are still watching. Yeah. Well, thanks.
It's because we didn't sort of put a thing on for a dibber. We've just done it
off the cuff, really. But yeah, well, I'll try and get Sean. I'll show Sean how to do this, and then we can. Well, I've sent him a video explaining how I've done it, so hopefully I've explained it well enough, and then Sean can get into the habit of sort of setting this up, or even if I set it up and just show Sean what to do, because I don't mind setting it up even if I'm not on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more than fine. But anyway, no. Dave, thanks very much for joining us, mate.
No problem.
I'll see you Saturday, Dave.
Yeah, see you later, Sean.
Oh, and you won't see me. Thanks, Sean. Bye. Okay.
I'll see you as well, Mike.
Yeah, I'm there as well. No, it's thanks again, Sean. And thanks to everyone who's been watching. And let's hope Aston Villa don't complete bottle jobs in the next 90 minutes and actually turn this around. And then hopefully we can get a good result next week with the lads. Take care, everyone.